Shit looked
Where is
tight.
it streaming at?
I don't know. I watched it years ago. It was on Netflix.
Yeah, how did that escape me? Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, that's so Blood and Wine's what it's called?
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone should
Or
definitely check that
Blood
out.
into Wine or something like that.
All right, we're recording at this present time in the studio. MMA Unraveled. So, yeah.
What the hell?
So, there's lots of stuff going on in the MMA world. Actually, it seems like there's not a lot going on, but there's a lot going on.
A lot of bullshit going on.
What do you think? What kind of bullshit?
Tyron Woodley complaining.
Tyron Woodley is kind of a bitch. I told you about that
He's a
time.
bitch all the way.
I told you about that time I met him, and he was just like, I'm like,
I
dude,
don't
you're
remember
here paid to talk to me right now. Be a nice guy. And I actually took a picture with him. It's on my Instagram. But whatever.
Your boys.
Yeah, we go way back. Yeah, Tyron training Floyd.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that? You think Floyd's going to fight in the UFC at all?
Seems legit.
Reportedly applying for his
I watched
license.
the interview where TMZ had him outside somewhere out in Vegas, and he was talking, and he seemed for real about it. Like, he didn't seem like he was talking shit.
I mean, I would like to see him fight like CM Punk.
But he said his wrestling was 7 out of 10, his kicking was 4 out of 10,
Oh, I know.
and his striking 10 out of 10, of course.
But
wrestling 7 out of 10 for Floyd, that's pretty good. Maybe he's been training this whole time like old...
I mean, that's kind of like a
Lomachenko.
rumor I heard that he had been training for like 3 years or something. I mean,
Makes sense.
doesn't he have a cage in his gym?
Probably.
I believe I saw a cage.
He was in that
his gym.
cage somewhere in that video. I don't know where he was.
I think that was it. You know, whatever
his
it's
house?
called, Money Headquarters or...
Yeah, Money Gym,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about this. Definitely going to throw it back out there, but there's this fan theory rumor that both Donald Trump and Floyd Mayweather reinvented themselves through the advice and consultation of Vince McMahon.
Both Donald Trump and Floyd Mayweather. I mean, it kind of makes sense. But
And now they're on top. They're both on
so
top.
Vince
They're both
McMahon
tops.
is the mastermind.
Yeah. So apparently, I forget the exact connection, but apparently, maybe Vince McMahon used to play a character where all the time he would say, "You're fired," and then Donald Trump became the host of The Apprentice, where he used the saying, "You're fired."
Okay.
So there's that, and then also, so like Floyd Mayweather was Pretty Boy Floyd until I can't think till he won the title, till after he won the title. I can't remember when he started being Money Mayweather, but it was a reinvention of his persona, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting how people do that. I mean, like, let's think of some other people who reinvented themselves. Chael Sonnen. I mean, he was not like, until he started talking shit and Anderson Silva was out of people to fight, I was not following Chael Sonnen at all.
Yeah, I started following him like kind of when he started becoming sort of a big deal.
When he invented himself.
Yeah.
Or reinvented.
Like, I'd
or
heard of him.
whatever.
I knew there was this good wrestler out there, and he looked like a normal dude, and I was like, oh, he's probably cool. But it wasn't until he started talking where I was like, oh, it's this guy.
He is very articulate. I love listening to him talk about
I love
stuff.
listening to him talk nowadays in his podcast.
I'm so glad he has a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And does
sick.
these little segments. That's what I think you've seen my little audio recorder over here. I'm waiting on one more piece of equipment. I got another microphone. Not like with these microphones, but a USB condenser. That like if it was all four of us, like we did the Fight Companion, just put it in the middle of the table.
Yeah,
Bam.
that sounds cool.
Like
in
no
theory.
mic stands on the table, just pizza boxes and whatever.
Yeah, if that works as well as it seems like it would, then
Yeah, no, I
So
mean
you
Joe
never even
Rogan
use
has
these.
used one on, I think it's like episode 986 or something. There's this dude that does about like cat parasites that humans get.
this
And
man
it's
calling
like in
out
a
Joe Rogan numbers on the episodes.
dude, I mean obviously dude, I mean you're much like myself in that I'm like, have you seen the new episode, or you're asking me if I've seen it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I haven't seen it, don't tell me.
No
But-
spoilers.
Yeah, but no, I mean, okay, so there's been a couple of good episodes. Did you Did you watch the one where Joe was talking about how he doesn't believe in show money versus win money?
I saw the headline about that.
Yeah,
but I didn't hear his explanation of it.
Well, he doesn't think that, and I mean it's a good point. I never really thought about it, but
So what did he say again? He said he wants show money is good.
He said no. He said yeah. He's like they should just get paid the same no matter what. There shouldn't be like two ways to get money. There should be one way to get money and then like the bonuses. But that he said that people don't fight harder for the win bonus. I don't know. That's what he was saying. He said he doesn't think people fight harder either way. They're just like fixated on show money, I guess. I don't know.
So what does he care then if they just get extra money for winning?
I don't know. He just thinks it's BS.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, so
I said I never really thought about it, but he has a problem with it.
I always kind of assumed people did fight harder for the win money, and it's nice to win. It's nice to get more money too. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Give them an incentive for doing a good job. Who cares? It's not like they get paid a lot anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, for the most part, the average fighter.
Yeah, those like super lower tiered fighters in the organization might get like 4 and 4, like 4 to fight and 4 to another 4 to win, so 8 total.
Yeah.
So maybe what he's saying is you should just get 8 total. That both guys should get 8 total or whatever. I don't know. But I always remark on those things like when I hear them, because like I've been in the fight game for a long time, and when I hear something I hadn't thought about them, it's always thought provoking.
Well, there's also guys that kind of like, some people might show up and just not even try, just to get the money, and then that's it.
That too.
Case in point, like Bob Sapp nowadays just shows up and then.
Is he still showing up?
Yeah, I mean he was at least like a couple of years ago, and like very recent.
Man,
and he just fought Alexander Emelianenko a couple of years ago, and he didn't even really try.
Show.
Just shows up, taps out, gets paid.
Fedor apparently hates that dude.
And I swear that dude that fought OSP was it Yushin Okami or something like that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. So did you ever see Yushin Okami get knocked out by Anderson Silva in the guard with the illegal up kick?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was crazy. But that's same exact thing that happened to Cora. I was just like, damn, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But man, what a blatant foul, you know? Like
I
could see back then, like those guys having fought in Pride, and I don't think that was a Pride fight. I think it was like a Rumble on the Rock or Jungle, or I can't remember. Anderson Silva fought in like 2 other promotions between like Pride and the UFC, where he fought like Tony Frickland and stuff. But that's a pretty blatant foul for that, like everybody I believe knows about.
I thought Anderson's looked a little bit like he kind of didn't mean to.
Yeah, see, so like I was saying, like back then that was in what, like
I don't know what the hell.
Maybe like 06 or something.
Yeah, it was kind of like pre-Pride.
Yeah, let's just look it up. We have a device right here. But so like I could see it back then, like they were just coming from, like they both had fought in Pride, if I'm not mistaken. Yushin Okami did. I know Anderson Silva did. That's what I love about Fight Pass is I get all, like we can go watch all Anderson Silva's fights. We can watch this fight we're talking about where he gets up kicked. We could probably find that one on YouTube too. Brazilian martial arts. See that crazy video of Anderson Silva like dressed up like a woman, like dancing?
I think I have seen that.
What
it's strange.
The hell?
He's a weird dude.
He is a weird dude. Professional boxing record. Pay-per-view bouts. What a lot. So, and Anderson Silva says he's going to stay in the game. What do you think?
I saw that this week. Sure. I mean, but then again, he's going to be suspended for 4 more years.
Yeah, I know.
So who cares? If he wasn't suspended right now, then I'd listen to him, but...
Let's see. Okay. Yushin Okami, DQ, illegal kick, Rumble on the Rock 8, January 20, 2006. I got the promotion and the year right.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Welterweight tournament, opening round. Silva was DQ'd for delivering a kick to an opponent who had his knees on the ground. So, but, okay, so let's look. So he fought in Cage Rage before that. and then so like within just a few fights before that, he had fought in Pride. So I can definitely see that. I could see being confused over like imagine so it's like that in jiu-jitsu in the grappling world and in kickboxing too, like fighting under these different rule sets and not really, you know, you having to train for different rule sets. MMA has got, you know, a unified rule set anymore, but it used to not be that way just as little as 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I remember
weird.
we got an athletic commission to sanction MMA in Arkansas in 2009. I don't know about like everywhere else, but we didn't have MMA wasn't a sanctioned sport. I think that's when they did the last unified rules. Well, they made a couple of amendments, but yeah. So, man, that Joe Rogan Yoel Romero episode was awesome.
Was it? I thought I didn't watch it because I didn't hear anything about it. Like I was expecting all this
dude, it
hype to
was
come
so
out afterwards, but then
Yeah, that
people were
plus
saying
like
it was in
they
Spanish the whole time, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I ain't
well,
trying to watch that.
Joey Diaz cracking me up as a translator in that one too.
He was cracking me up too. He had to be all serious so much. I've never seen him be so serious for so much time.
At one point, he like translated something to Yoel, and like just the way he said it, he got all animated and he like made a funny sound at the end. And Joe started cracking up. I was losing it just watching, but it was good. You should definitely watch it. There's a bunch of good clips from it. Like I first watched a few of the clips. For some reason, like I couldn't find it on YouTube. The first day it was on YouTube, like I didn't get a notification. So, but yeah, it was really good. I didn't know. I wasn't charting that Yoel Romero was that old.
41.
Yeah, damn. And he talks about his training. Man,
I heard him talk about how he's like it sucks training still at this age.
Yeah, yeah, he was saying that. What are you thinking about his upcoming fight?
Well, against Whitaker?
Yeah. One of
That'd be a
them's old
banger.
and one of them was just sick.
Well, no matter how old Yoel is, we all know, he's still at the top.
Yeah.
Like he ain't slowed down.
So
yet.
I'm fascinated too. So like, sadly, and I don't want to make any generalizations because like historically speaking, I was not 100% sure on some of this stuff, but I'm just gonna throw this out there. So Cuba, you know who introduced pigs to Cuba? Christopher Columbus, who also enslaved tons of natives and shipped them back to Europe and other things, and then like. So you get like Haiti and Cuba and the DR, like all of your Caribbean islands basically become these hubs for the transatlantic slave network, right?
Yeah.
So you get people like for example, Portugal would take slaves from the interior of Africa, march them across. Like here's a breakdown: like 100 bodies, march them to the coast where like 30 something die. Then in prison there, another few die. Then they put them on this boat, and then it takes for Portugal to ship them to Brazil 2 years. But like the Caribbean is going to be a pit stop.
Oh.
You know, so. I just lectured over all this. But, yeah, I mean, so there's, like, particularly, like, the Taino that Christopher Columbus ran into first. There's a Taino population on Cuba. But, so, like, pretty much...
One of the native peoples?
Yes. And he just annihilated the shit out of them. Like, a total asshole. Like, damn.
Why?
I don't know. Because they were vulnerable, man. They were nice. Like, listening to how, like, he described them in his journals, he's like, they're so happy and carefree and smiling and laughing. And
so he writes this in his journals.
Yeah, and then he's like, easily conquerable. Like, we're just going to be able to enslave them. Like, they're gullible. Like, it turns to that. Like, almost immediately, like, greed takes over. Like, they have gold. And like, here's the most chilling thing I ran across researching all this is on like Christopher Columbus's second voyage, he was 4. So he goes back, and like that's like probably the most I think the most violent voyage based off my research. But again, I haven't done tons of research. It's not like my area.
Right.
But there's like he enslaves this. They're enslaving the natives, the Taino, and there's this captain that came on one of the ships with the second voyage that like is in the company, and Columbus gives him this native slave girl, and like it's the dude that's the captain of this other ship that got the slave girl from Columbus. So like he's writing about it in his journal, and he's like, yeah, you know, so we're just looking over there and just gave in to my baser pleasures and, you know, just raped that native girl. And like this, like, but how he described it, it's like it wasn't rape to him at all. It was like, oh yeah, you know, this is a gift from my bro Chris. Just gonna take advantage of this
so
real
they weren't
quick.
seeing these people as actual other like,
no,
humans.
and he was talking about how she was resisting him and stuff, and then it's like, oh, and then she started to like it. It's like, no, she didn't, asshole.
So was these people like inherently evil, or are they just kind of,
dude?
They just don't.
I mean,
based on the society they came from, that's just in their head.
well, you know, like
way.
just during that time, conquest was such a and. It was such a fuck show, because what happens is Spain, Portugal, and Portugal is not super relevant, but the Dutch, I mean, they are, but not throughout this whole process. France, and we got into Vietnam because of French colonization. Vietnam's a French colony.
Okay.
Right. So there's like all of these people get into like, hey, we're going to colonize all over here. And then you got this trade network going down here. And we're going to take over here. I'm going to set up a colony here. And I took over this. And they're doing the same thing in Europe. And then they start killing each other over these alliances with these monarchies and cousins marrying cousins and syphilis and powdered wigs. And it's crazy.
So what the fuck was happening back then? Like if this, right, like at that point in history, kind of like all those people, they didn't know shit about them, so they're kind of like aliens, really.
Yeah.
So if we today,
dude, he thought he was going to India.
Right. So he had no clue really what was going on and why the hell.
That's why they're called Indians.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
What the hell? That's so funny. Oh man.
But we wouldn't do something like that nowadays. Why the hell did they do it then? What was different?
You think we wouldn't?
No. Like if there was say we found like some primitive
like maybe
species on Mars and we show up there now, like everyone here is going to be like, oh, we need to help them out and hook them up. They'd probably
So here's something I was talking about this yesterday. Use the Mars analogy. So like, let's say like, what if Elon Musk puts a civilization on Mars? And they start building cities and stuff, and he nukes the atmosphere or whatever the hell he's got planned, and it works.
Yeah.
And like, what that's going to be so like, imagine our Wild West, the American frontier, and like the guy I had on yesterday, we talked about the frontier a little bit, but it's just like the process of westward expansion, right? Like that whole middle part that like from the Louisiana Purchase, like the Lewis and Clark expedition, like forging, like so imagine like that on Mars.
Wild West.
Yeah.
That'd be but pretty sick.
Well, here's the thing too. So like, but let's just say there's no other life other than what we put there. People suck. So
yeah, can't really fathom it right now.
What's that going to be like?
It doesn't make any sense. To me, I can't see any way people would ever be able to live on Mars.
Well, let's just say it's off. Like, take Mars out of the equation. You're going to set a group of people up on an island, and this island is going to, like, you give them all the stuff they need to make the infrastructure on the island and to build shelters and to become self-sufficient and yada yada, and you say, hey, here are your laws, and you put 10,000 people on the island. Go. Yeah, like, what's that gonna look like? And what, like, when it's far removed from I mean, there's not gonna be federal oversight on Mars. You know what I'm saying? There's not good, like, so like when you're far removed, which I know, like, obviously Hawaii is pretty far removed from the United States, and still there's federal oversight. But you know.
They'll definitely will try to be on another planet. The government isn't gonna just let whatever happens out there happen, because in case they run into something where they have some like monetary gains or they some resources or something they want, I don't think they're just gonna let that happen.
See, that's maybe the same thing will happen like the colonial era is everybody gets overextended trying to get a colony over here and fighting wars right here at home, and then bam, you just bankrupt the empire, and Spain becomes the sick man of Europe. That's what all the historians call Spain.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen in space, though.
Elon Musk is going to become
No
the sick
resources.
man of Mars.
Happen in America because there's so many resources, but...
Man, so did you watch the Pat Miletich podcast?
No.
Oh, dude, it's really good. So I didn't even know this, but Pat Miletich, they talked about the Carlos Newton fight, so that was cool. Have you seen that? Matt Hughes versus Carlos Newton?
Is that the one where Matt Hughes slammed him and knocked him out?
Yeah. I thought we watched that on the podcast for some reason.
No, but I'd seen it.
Yeah, and he talked about waking Matt Hughes up, like crawling over the cage and like rubbing his hair and stuff. But Duke Rufus has a conspiracy podcast, or not Duke Rufus, Pat Miletich. They're the same person, but Pat Miletich
Really?
has a conspiracy podcast. They're essentially the same. I do get him confused sometimes, but I didn't know that. It's like super funny, but he was talking on it and riffing on it, but he had a lot of cool stories about like super early days, because like Joe was saying, and truthful is like back when like early days of the UFC, like when it was like pioneering, or when Miletich was fighting, like way before Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner, like it was Miletich and it was like Lion's Den.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your main two teams.
Remember them being the big deal back then.
Yeah, I mean, so that was
They were the dudes.
yeah, it was cool. They just had a lot of cool stories. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Duke Rufus episode. It's like an older episode on JRE.
Mm-hmm.
But I went back and watched it, and like they talk about all these super sick Thai fights. So
I like Duke Rufus. I hadn't seen that episode though.
yeah.
There's all the CM Punk coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I don't know if that started because people are speculating him versus Mayweather, or if he's just going to be fighting soon against someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just speculation. So, but
Still say he's been in the gym every day since that last fight, working.
yeah. Well, it's like, how much can you work when your hands are like super trashed? Like my coach was saying this, like when he was wrapping Cora's hand, because hers was kind of injured the other night. Is that more boxers lose their careers because of hand injuries than head injuries?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, pretty. Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense, but yeah. I was like, well, I never really thought about that either, but yeah, because that's the thing that, like, remember Conor McGregor? Oh, does it hurt when your hands get cold? he's calling him old man hands and stuff, like just making fun of him, because everybody knows. I mean, Floyd has had to become the boxer that he is because of injury, because he's broken his hand like 3 times or something. Maybe he's had like multiple surgeries even. So
yeah, I remember hearing that.
There's this guy, a kid in my history class, like, I don't want to call him a man. It's like a teenage person.
Yeah,
not quite a grown up. I don't know. So, but he's always wearing this super huge watch, and I like pull up, like he's taking a test the other day, and I pulled up this big picture of like Floyd Mayweather's watch, and I was like, "That's you, dude. It's your watch."
Is it supposed to be cool like Floyd's, or is it just
I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I'm like, dude, this is your watch, man. You got a Floyd Mayweather watch. So, yeah, keeps me entertained when I'm having to lecture about the scientific revolution. Okay, so what do you think about so TJ and DJ's on the shelf? Like this looking like it's not gonna happen at all.
Yeah, I hear it's not gonna happen. DJ's shoulder's too jacked up. He's got that shoulder surgery that I want to get.
Oh damn. Yeah. Yeah. Have you looked into stem cells at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's
what he got.
Yeah.
I hear it's the good shit.
Yeah. Yeah, which I mean, if he got a stem cell, if he's not getting cut on, that should be a way faster recovery. We need to go to Panama and just get the intravenous ones, man. That's apparently what everybody's
I don't know
doing.
much about the science behind them.
Yeah. I don't either. A buddy of mine got stem cells in his shoulder, though. So Pat Miletich was talking about this. He said his, like, shoulder, like, died. And he, like, did this thing where they, like, would, like, put him on his side and, like, push here and there. And, like, they basically rerouted his nervous system and, like, remade the connections that needed to be made. And his shoulder got back to 100%. Also, Pat Miletich is doing that ultra running that David Goggins guy, the world pull-up record holder, he's like
this like super long distance.
Yeah, like 100 miles in 30 hours and stuff like that.
Pat Miletich is doing that.
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy?
All them older guys are getting into that kind
yeah,
of shit.
Well, they
nowadays.
are, and they're like, oh my, I'm pain free. Like saying stuff like that. Like they broke through some sort of physical barrier through running. Like that Goggins guy was talking about it too. And I like about how hard it was in the beginning. Like peeing blood down your leg while you're running and stuff. But
I guess it makes sense, humans are designed to just run like super long distances. So
yeah.
Just
that's how it became an Olympic game.
Yeah, break through that barrier of the initial getting your body from your day-to-day life to adapt to that, and then after that maybe you're good.
Yeah.
I can't run worth a damn right now,
dude. I hadn't ran in a while. I was running a while back. I am getting some of those Vibram toe shoes.
Yeah.
5 fingers or
I used
whatever.
to have some.
Yeah, do you like them?
I didn't own them for very long because I was tubing on the back of a boat one day with them on, and the water skipping the back yanked them off. So I had them for like a few weeks, but as long as I could think your feet will adapt to them over time, but as long as your feet kind of have a nice shape to them, they'll be good. My feet are like a little bit fucked up, so they don't like to fit in the toes that well.
Yeah,
but
I have a wide foot. I've heard. I don't know. I've just heard that it's like really good for your foot. And like I've got a few pairs of Vans and stuff, but they're too narrow. And they're super flat too. But I don't know.
They're probably cool if they work good for your toes. Other than that, like I think if I were to get some like minimalist shoes like that nowadays, I would get ones that have like a regular toe box instead, but have the rest of the shoes still be the same.
Yeah.
What are you getting them for? You're gonna start running or something?
Well, yeah, just all this
Climbing?
like general purpose.
You gonna wear them around town?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude, with my Joe Rogan fanny pack.
You're such a fanboy.
My birthday's coming up. I need a fanny pack. I need some toe shoes.
I can get with the toe shoes for like physical activities,
dude.
But I can't get with them for fashion.
Well, if I'm not professing or that's pretty much. If I'm not professing, I wear sweatpants. So.
Yeah.
Plus, I have these things that like man capris.
No.
But they're kind of baggy, more like a pirate pants.
Like they're super cool in Europe, right?
They're like pirate pants, they're like kind of baggy, like if I cut off some of my sweatpants,
Man,
I just call them man capris because they're kind of like 3/4 length. They don't like tight like yoga pants or anything. At least I don't wear Brendan Schwab shoes.
I don't know what he wears.
Oh, you remember after it was either after or before the Conor Floyd, he was talking about wearing these things with the Khaleesi buckle and dude, I got to show you Brendan Schwab's shoes. Okay. So I think he was wearing these at the Mayweather fight.
Schwab usually dresses pretty fresh, and so
this was cool. Joe Rogan was giving him shit about it.
He might have done like, one thing.
Right. Look at that. He called. They were talking about Game of Thrones, which
That's not
cool
I know
but he's calling that the Khaleesi buckle. I mean, what is this like little thing on the back right here?
Some type of bug. That's strange. Yeah. Every once in a while, people think they can pull something off that they can't. So I mean, I guess he gets his one try, but it failed. I'm glad Joe gave him some shit for it.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, I was losing it when they were talking about it, for sure. So, what did you, speaking of Joe Rogan, did you see where they were talking about his feud with Carlos Mencia?
I don't know the details. I didn't.
It's crazy. Like, so apparently Carlos Mencia stole a joke from Ari Shaffir and other people too, and it's like known in the comedic community. And they were at the comedy club one night. This is back when Pauly Shore's mom was still running it, I guess. And I know that like she's still somewhat involved, but I think she has Parkinson's. So they were there, and Joe Rogan calls him out and like gets up on stage, and they're arguing, and Carlos Mencia calls Joe Rogan a bitch, and it's just like there's all this like, and then like Ari Shaffir comes up there, and he's like, I've never even done a show with Ari, and it's like boom, it like in the whoever put that video up, it like cuts to a video of this is a video I watched after the podcast, but it cuts to a video of like Ari opening for Mencia, and so Joe Rogan got banned from the comedy club for that though for 7 years. Like Mitzi, the Pauly Shore's mom, said that he could come back. Like that night, gave him a spot, and then they called him, said he couldn't come back, that he was banned, and then his management called and dropped him all over that incident, all over calling him out for being a plagiarizer.
I wonder if that's just a really big deal in that comedy world.
They said they should have handled it. They wanted to handle it like
it's like the lowest of low to say to another comedian.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the lowest of low to do. That's why I'm not into like Tony Robbins. So, hold on just a second. I got an important text coming through. I hate to be rude. Okay. I got like business related shit over here.
Can we break for a second?
Oh yeah, you got. We could do whatever you want, bro. We're in the studio.
Shoot, I don't know.
Did we talk about Bellator?
No, we didn't mention anything.
What do you think about Mirko Kokop?
Sounds,
I don't think about Mirko
Kokop. Well, I did think about him a little bit the other day because I listened to Kale's take on Coker signing him, and then
so
people bitching that he signed a dude that's suspended for banned substance.
So yes, and okay, so the backstory on that is this, and I didn't know this. Krokop got suspended for admitting that he took some prescribed HGH.
Yeah, something like HGH, some type of growth hormone that's banned.
But he passed the test.
He passed the test.
So he never had a failed test.
Right.
So he was disciplined, I guess, by... he wasn't disciplined by a commission.
USADA.
Yeah.
So he's in the USADA's banned pool right now.
Yes.
Or he has been for around 2 years,
yeah.
I guess.
So, but apparently he's fighting on Bellator, and it's a non-issue.
Yeah, he's been fighting overseas since then, and Coker signed him, and now he's going to fight in Bellator because apparently his ban will be up soon. Sounds good to me. I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
And like Kale said, his integrity is
rematching Roy Nelson, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Probably be a shit fight, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So So yeah, Roy Nelson's out of that heavyweight tournament, so that makes sense. I want to see Justin Wren fight again.
I still haven't seen this Justin Wren guy fight. I've heard lots of good things about his humanitarian efforts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And I've heard lots of good things about you about that, and or from you about that and his fighting, but I haven't seen him fight yet.
Brian Cowan was on Joe Rogan talking about African tribes the other day.
Oh, yeah?
And he was talking about the pygmies, and that came up with like what Justin Wren says, he digs wells for the pygmies.
Mm-hmm.
But like apparently the pygmies like the smallest people. Like they have the smallest average height person of anywhere on Earth. Small. But like apparently like right next door, you have like the tallest people that like are like 7.5
Francis
feet.
Ngannou's tribe is right next door.
Yeah, right next door, right next door. But yeah, it's super interesting that you got the smallest people and the biggest people living in the same region. Yeah, like on the same continent even, but like, yeah, next door to one another.
Africa is a really strange place.
Yes, it is.
My sister's there right now. She's
really?
Been there for a while, yeah. They still, like, kill, like, albino people there?
Yeah. I've heard that.
Super fucked up.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it makes me, like, really weirded out to hear some of the stories she has from being over there.
Yeah.
She brought this book home about it, like a children's book. I forget what it was called. Something really twisted.
Like warning you about it, or like
it's like a story
awareness?
About this albino kid that's like on the run constantly because everywhere he goes, people want to kill him, and their like limbs and shit are worth like thousands of dollars. So they can sell them because they're like have some magic in them. Apparently, is what people think.
Yeah, that's dude. People have done like I like back on that same sort of same sort of thing as like the Salem witch trials and stuff, that same era. You get people, but man, anytime there's a little bit of extremism, people just take that shit way too far.
It's weird.
We were talking about like Hausnick came on the podcast earlier, and we did a couple of different spots. He did this thing. It's like YouTube released this thing yesterday where you can't do certain gun related shit on the podcast.
Yeah, there's actually been like
all these tactical pages that were getting pulled down.
Yeah, I've heard stuff about that. YouTube and Reddit has been cracking down on shit like that.
Yeah,
it really kind of sucks, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Facebook started, I guess, on the marketplace before that, so makes I mean, it's been coming, I guess, and people even like Hasek was saying, it's a slippery slope when you start saying, well, when you take this away, you're going to take that away. But it's like, it is gradually moving down the slippery slope, it seems, on a lot of these things that like first is like, you can't sell, like that's Facebook, you can't sell guns on the marketplace. And then, they said you can't be involved in anything that contributes to a direct sale of firearms or like accessories, bump stocks, the instructions on the assembly of, but it's just like, and a lot of people are speculating. It's like, well, then what are you going to demonetize us debating over whether or not states should submit their mental health records to federal agencies, and kind of that whole thing. It's like, are you gonna demonetize people or pull their videos off or flag their channel for having those sorts of conversations? Because that's what a podcast is supposed to be, is like an uncensored, free form conversation. It's just like whatever,
yeah,
and so like my thing is like, well, are they infringing on that? And like, a lot of people lost their YouTube pages in the last couple of days over it. So,
yeah, I don't know. They definitely are infringing on it, but then again, it's their website, so I guess they can do what they want.
Yeah, true that. A lot of stuff going on right now. It's an interesting time, indeed.
Yeah, I'm not concerned because it's the internet. We'll find another platform. Whoever's out there that wants to talk about whatever the fuck they want to talk about will find somewhere else to talk about it, and people will find them.
Let's see what there was a couple other things going on. So Alexander Gustafsson says he's going to be fighting for an interim title.
Alexander Gustafsson's been pissing me off lately. He's like a bully. He's just talking shit to everyone when they're down.
In the eyes and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, shut the hell up. And dude hasn't fought in forever. And then who's he trying to fight now? He's trying to call out someone.
I don't know. I didn't hear.
Luke Rockhold. He was trying to call out Luke Rockhold, and I'm like, and then he's making fun of Daniel Cormier he's like, oh, he's taking that fight with Stipe. It's bullshit. Blah blah blah. I'm like, what? And then because obviously he's fighting Stipe is like the hardest fight for him. I can't think of anyone else tougher than that. But then Gustafsson's sitting here trying to call out a middleweight coming out of a loss. So Gustafsson's a bitch. He needs to shut the hell up. Every time he talks shit, it's lame. I used to like the guy. Like you want to like him, but he's a douche.
There's another fight that's coming up that they're hyping.
Dude, they announced the Stephen Till versus Darren.
That's exactly
Stephen Thompson versus Darren.
Yeah,
Till.
that's exactly. I don't think it's been officially confirmed, but
UFC Liverpool, that'll be sick.
Yeah,
super sick.
Well, so what? Okay, so UFC 223 is. Let's see what that's looking like. That's another thing, man. It's because I'm like recording into this device right now, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to building that supercomputer. Because I just I don't know if it's multitasking or what, but I've been and I keep having to dump my storage because these audio files when I do the audio, and then the video files when I do the uploads, I have to clear that stuff off repeatedly. What is the UFC 223? You got the card up?
Yeah.
What's who all's on the card? I know they've had a couple of fights.
Nice card. Let's see. Starting from the first interesting one from the bottom, we got Artem Lobov versus Alex Caceres.
Oh yeah.
The GOAT, Artem. I love that guy. Evan Dunham versus Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Joe Lozon fighting on it. Ray Borg, Carolina and Felice Herrig, Ally Quinta and Paul Felder. That's a sick fight. Like both them dudes. Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis. Also a sick fight. Yeah.
Pettis has been.
That's gonna be
He's talking about he's been having mental problems, not mental health, but
He was talking about how his last training camp went really bad. Personal things going on.
Yeah. He was such a I remember I was so big on the Pettis train, and then he lost to Clay Guida, and I was like, what?
Yeah, he got wrestle fucked, and then
I was
came back from
perfect game plan for Guida, but yeah, he has been just kind of hit or miss, so to speak, in his UFC career, right? He's kind of one
he
loss,
went on
one
that
loss,
huge
one loss.
streak, and then got on the Wheaties box and everything. Then who's the first guy to beat him was RDA, and it was downhill from there. Got beat by RDA, got beat by Eddie Alvarez.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is 2-5 in his last 7 fights.
Yeah, he's not doing good.
But he beat Gilbert Melendez, submitted him with the guillotine.
He beat the Charles Oliveira too, which was a good win for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more
got beat up by Dustin
somewhat
Poirier.
recent. 2016. Lost to Max Holloway. That makes sense. Beat Jim Miller. Jim Miller's just been in the news. And then lost to Dustin Poirier because of rib injury. He's lost, I guess, a couple of fights due to injury. And then he's won fights that he's got injured in as well. Yeah. Let's see. Pettis owns along with his business partners. Oh, so Pettis is part owner of Rufus Sport. Interesting. Yeah. Anthony Pettis. What's his brother up to?
His brother's fighting someone soon, I think. He just got beat by Henry Cejudo. in his last
Yeah,
fight.
saw that. So they were saying that before, I think the Dillashaw is that DJ was going to fight Cejudo again.
Yeah, I heard
He was
that
on
too.
a 4-fight win streak before that.
Yeah, he got Cejudo's looking good. His wrestling was on point as usual, but his striking's looking really good lately. He's starting to adopt that side-on stance, kind of McGregor and Sean O'Malley-ish.
Yeah,
Using lots of kicks. And
I've been doing that, and I've been doing that for a while actually. Like, because I love throwing side kicks, but I've been doing like a longer range kicking game. Because like Superfoot, Bill Superfoot Wallace, I got to do one of his seminars last year. And it was like one of the best seminars I've ever done on kicking.
That side-on stance is badass for... I like to use it like incrementally in fights because bouncing around so much like that will tire me out. So I'll use it at times when I want to counter because it's super good for setting the distance.
See, I like it against
a
southpaw. I like actually, I like it in that swing step stuff. Like I'll swing back into that side stance.
I haven't sparred or anything against a southpaw in so long. I don't even know. No one is southpaw around here. Yeah. I like to switch to southpaw and do it, which is kind of, the same thing.
Yeah. See, so I like that too, for sure. So like, and it gets like your lead leg and their lead leg closer, and you do that little McGregor style.
Yeah.
So did we talk at all about like when Big John was on the church? What's happening now?
I think you mentioned it. Yeah.
So he was talking about how McGregor has like a champions clause.
Yeah.
Where basically like he signed a clause when he went into business with Dana White on this Mayweather fight, so that the reason he hasn't been stripped is because his clause in his contract from that fight agreement with Dana White and with the Zuffa or whatever. But that's why he hasn't been stripped of the title, is because he was allotted a certain amount of time until a certain date. Maybe it's a year from the Mayweather fight. I don't know, but he negotiated it. And Big John was saying that's why he has not been stripped.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So I wonder when they will strip him. That was what was a little...
Everyone likes to bitch about McGregor right now, but they don't fail to realize last year he worked his fucking ass off for that Mayweather shit, doing all those shows. So they do like 5 shows.
Yeah,
for that.
And really took that on a short notice. Yeah, had the media tour in only like 3 or 4 months or something.
Yeah, he had to prepare for a fight and then do all that stuff. I mean, he's sitting there getting up in front of thousands and thousands of people, millions watching, and like doing that little shit talking spiel. That had to take a lot out of him. People don't give him the credit. Like, oh, it's been a year and a half since he fought. Well, it was last year he did all that stuff. Probably a lot more work than a lot of other fighters put in last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a fan of his work. I would,
Same.
I would like to see him work more.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get around to it.
Dude, I'll tell you what a badass
And he just had a kid, too. So I mean,
Justin Gaethje versus Eddie Alvarez. Conor McGregor fought Eddie Alvarez, so I'm thinking about that. But did you watch that at all?
Yeah, I watched the shit out of that fight.
Yeah, that was, dude. Eddie Alvarez, what a master plan that he came up with.
Yeah, hook into the body.
Yeah,
but it didn't take fucking rocket science to figure out a game plan that's going to beat Justin Gaethje. So,
yeah,
I mean, everyone knows what he's going to do.
Yeah, brawl. I think I told you. I saw him and Michael Johnson fight live. Holy shit, that was crazy.
That was a badass fight too.
We went to like the old part of town in Vegas after that, and everybody was talking about it already. It was wild. It was a crazy fight to see live.
I was losing my fucking mind when I was watching. I was watching on my computer, like sitting in my room. No fucking. And then when he went to jump off the cage at the end, I thought he was gonna die.
Yeah.
He fell off it the first time and goes to do it again. I'm like, no, don't do that. I thought he was gonna land straight on his head.
Oh man. So apparently, that guy Bryce that we know that was on the Ultimate Fighter, he is he's back, or as far as I know, they're done filming the show.
Who are you talking about?
Bryce Mitchell. He was on that. So the Stipe and Cormier Ultimate Fighter.
Oh yeah, so he was on there.
Yeah, the undefeated season. Yeah, so yeah.
You know him he's from Arkansas or something.
Yeah. One of my coaches who will be at this camp tomorrow, that I'm going to, is his coach. This dude is like a dirty uncle to me or something. It's like
What weight class is he?
Bryce, he's 45er.
Did they do? Was it all 45ers that season?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was all undefeated people.
Yeah,
That's all I
that
remember.
makes it cool.
Yeah. Because Cormier is undefeated at heavyweight.
Have you heard of this dude named the Violent Bob Ross?
No. What the fuck? Sean O'Malley?
He looks like Bob Ross. No, he's supposed to be on The Ultimate Fighter. I think he's from Georgia. I know him from... He's fought some people I know back in Georgia. I'm not going to get into that, but he's apparently really good, and there's a lot of fighters hyped on him, and he looks like Bob Ross, and his nickname is the Violent Bob Ross. That's the guy. He's gonna. I don't know if he was on this last Ultimate Fighter. He's gonna be on it. He's gonna be at the fights next weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah, whatever promo is next weekend here in Arkansas, they're like advertising. Oh, Violent Bob Ross is gonna be here, special guest.
Wow.
So he's probably an interesting dude to look out for coming up.
Yeah, no, I'll have to keep my ear to the ground. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I had this little girl, it's a gym named Bridget, and they've trained with it. Like, she's trained with us for like 4 or 5 years, and she's like 10 now. But she, for Halloween, dressed up as Bob Ross, dude. Like, with the fro, had like this little peppered on like beard thing, and
That's
and
cool.
like had the art going. It was hilarious. So
Bob Ross is the man.
shout out to Bridget and Bob Ross.
For real.
Well, yeah. Anything else exciting in the MMA world going on? We need to get out in the open, get our feelings out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I guess let's wrap this up so I can call the post office and try and track my package.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Something
Fun
going
times.
on.
Fun times. It's going to be good either way, but yeah. So, right on. Well, thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, enjoy the outage. Can we talk about the outage?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as I
Sounds
know,
like
I
a
hope so.
FERPA requirements or Title IX or something.
Outage, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, peace.